Hey, tonight we're taking a little trip. Well, not so much a trip as an accidental kidnapping at sea that ends with you living in filth, eating bugs, and wondering why the ocean smells like it's personally mad at you. We're going to the world of pirates. Not the movie kind with dazzling smiles, witty sword fights, and barrels of rum in the sunset. No, we're talking the actual pirate life. Which, spoiler alert, you would absolutely hate and probably wouldn't survive. Before we set sail, maybe dim your lights. Turn on a fan for that low, droning background hum. And, if you're new here, subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy listening to me ruin romanticized history for you. If you are already subscribed, drop your city and the time in the comments. I like knowing who else is still awake at ungodly hours. Now, let's slip into this story together. Slowly, carefully, like you're lowering yourself into a bath you know is ice cold, but you can't stop yourself from stepping in. Your pirate story doesn't start with you shouting, "I," and signing up for adventure. It starts with bad luck. Maybe you were already a sailor, hauling cargo across the Caribbean, or making the run from West Africa to the Americas. Maybe you were just a dockhand, moving crates and dreaming about one day buying a small plot of land and a goat. Then you see it. A black flag, maybe. Or a battered, half-rotted ship that shouldn't even float, but is coming toward you fast. You have just enough time to yell something before the first cannon shot rips into your vessel. The sound is like the sky splitting in half. Wood explodes into splinters that slice into your face. You see someone's hat and part of their head go flying. Before you can even grab a weapon, they're boarding. They don't arrive politely. They swing over the side on ropes, scream curses you've never heard before, and wave pistols that smell like burning metal and old coins. Their cutlasses look like they've been through several wars because they have. You drop whatever you're holding. Most people do. A few try to fight back, but it's like trying to swat away a hurricane with a broom. And then the lucky part. You're not dead. Instead, you get pressed into service, which sounds almost like a job offer until you realize it's just a polite way of saying, "We own you now." Your clothes. Gone. Those belong to the crew now. You're given a shirt so crusty it could probably stand up on its own. Pants that are either 2 sizes too small or 3 sizes too big. And a pair of boots that squish ominously when you walk. Someone calls you fresh bait. Not a compliment. Your first job. Scrub the deck, then mop the deck. Then scrub it again because apparently you didn't do it pirate clean, which is a whole different standard involving sand, seawater, and your own tears. That night, you lie down, if you can call it lying down on a damp plank, in a dark, airless room that smells like wet rope and human despair. The man next to you snores so loud, you're convinced his soul is trying to escape. You'd think exhaustion would knock you out, but the ship rocks like it's trying to throw you off. Every time you almost fall asleep, something creaks, a rope slaps, or you hear rats, plural, running overhead and underfoot. Somewhere in the darkness, a voice says, "Better get used to it." You don't. By day, you haul ropes, patch sails, and climb masts and wind so strong you start planning your fall just in case you slip. The sun burns you in places you didn't know could burn. By night, you clean. Always cleaning. Because a dirty deck is a slippery deck, and a slippery deck means fewer people to split loot with. You quickly learn. The pirate code is real. Yes, they vote on some things. Yes, loot is technically split evenly, but evenly means the captain gets the best, the quartermaster gets the second best, and you get a share so small it wouldn't buy you a decent hat back on land. Here's dinner, a brick of hardtack. Imagine the driest bread you've ever eaten. Now, imagine it's been sitting in a barrel for 6 months and is filled with tiny, squirming, extra protein. That's your meal. The trick is to dunk it in rum until it's soft enough not to break your teeth. Bonus, you get mildly drunk. Downside, you're mildly drunk while climbing rigging in a storm. Meat? Sure. Salted until it tastes like it's been brined in regret. Vegetables? Huh? Fruit? Only if you count the dried, moldy rind someone found behind a barrel. You'll be constipated for days, then suddenly, not. Both are equally unpleasant at sea. You don't bathe, not because you don't want to, but because fresh water is for drinking, and even then, it tastes like rust and wet coins. Once in a while, it rains, and everyone scrambles on deck, half naked, trying to wash before the clouds pass. You fight over puddles like they're gold. Your clothes, never dry, your socks, a weapon of biological warfare, and your skin, constantly itchy, but you've stopped asking why. Cuts don't heal. Teeth ache until they have to be yanked out with tongs heated over a candle. Scurvy starts quietly, a little bleeding in the gums, some bruises, and ends with pieces of you rotting while you're still alive. You don't know what's worse, the constant stomach cramps, the dizzy spells, or the knowledge that the ship's surgeon got his training by gutting fish. And then there are storms. You've never felt fear like this. The sky turns the color of old bruises. Waves rise higher than the masts. The wind screams so loud you can't hear your own thoughts. Every plank groans like it's begging to be allowed to sink. You cling to the rigging with hands that feel like they're about to snap off, wondering if drowning might actually be the better option. Disagreements don't end in HR meetings here. They end in knife fights, or fist fights, or someone mysteriously going missing overboard at night. There's a man named Pegleg Tom who insists he lost his leg fighting a shark. You believe him, until you hear another man mutter that it was actually over a stolen piece of cheese. Days blur into nights. Nights blur into days. You start forgetting what month it is. You talk to the sea. Sometimes you think it talks back. You miss the stupidest things: grass, bread that doesn't crack your jaw, the sound of church bells. You'd give anything to hear the quiet clink of mugs in a tavern again. Historians still argue whether pirates were truly free or just desperate men clinging to a myth. Some see them as rebels, escaping the tyranny of kings and merchants. Others see them for what they were: criminals trapped in their own floating prisons. You don't care, you just want to go home. But the truth, you won't. Once you're in, you're in. Until disease, a blade, or the sea itself takes you. Weeks in, you stop counting the days. Your skin is leathered, your hands blistered, your voice hoarse from shouting over wind. You eat because you have to. You sleep because you collapse. One night, lying in your damp hammock, listening to the groan of the ship and the breathing of men who smell like spoiled meat, you whisper the same thing you've whispered every night since the day you were taken. Please don't sink. Because even if you hate this life, you're not ready for it to end. Not like that. Not in the dark, with the sea swallowing you whole. And as the waves rock you to an uneasy sleep, you realize something terrible. you're starting to get used to it. And that is the real pirate life. Not the glossy adventure you've seen in movies, but the damp, smelly, exhausting reality that most of us wouldn't survive a week in. If you made it this far, you were tougher than you think. Or maybe just too comfortable in your bed to get up and click away. Either way, thank you for sailing through this story with me tonight. If you enjoyed it, give the video a like and subscribe for more slow, miserable history you can drift off to. Drop a comment with your city and the time you're listening. I always love seeing who else is up late with me. Now, close your eyes, breathe deep, and be grateful your pillow doesn't smell like salted meat and mildew. Sleep well, and I'll see you in the next story.